Hello everyone, Luke here, and I'm on fire today. We're getting the chapters out really early. I didn't realise that they were out on Saturday or Friday. I didn't realise. I thought they were out on Sunday. What? Wait a minute. Is this the Promised Neverland review? Are we going to talk about another Promised Neverland chapter? Okay, enough of that. Yeah, yes, today in this video we're going to be talking about the Promised Neverland. Why is that? Well, because there was a bonus chapter that came out recently. It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny how that's been keep happening. It's like the authors of the Promised Neverland, like, literally just finished the Promised Neverland in August, and they've been immediately coming back to jump first with the Spirit one shot that they did, the Spirit photography one shot, which I will say I did enjoy that. I thought it was a really good little short story that maybe they'll develop into a new series, maybe they won't, but if that comes out, I will check it out. And of course, with the bonus Promised Neverland chapter, which we're going to be talking about today. Alright, so this is chapter 181.1, or the special side story, which is titled The First Shot. Now, with this chapter, it's kind of interesting because we get the perspective from Ray at the beginning of the series. If you remember at the beginning of the series, he was already aware that they were being turned into food, but he realised that when he was like at the age of 6, and this is like going back in time. So like we're seeing the offence of how he came to find out that they were food, and also how that kind of affects him psychologically and emotionally as well. So anyway, the chapter starts off quite similar to the way the first chapter of the series starts off, with Ray giving a narration in the same way that Emma was given the narration at the beginning of the Promised Neverland, which goes, "A happy family, a happy house, that's all wrong. This is a farm, we're food." As we see all the kids, including Emma and Norman, going, come on Ray, let's play. And you see him just like getting psychologically disturbed about the fact that he's found out that they actually have to be food, and he's questioning it all the time. It's like, what should I do at this rate? My family and I are all going to be in. As we get the title page, which shows Emma, Ray and Norman in bed together, and we have Don and Gilda and several of the other kids off to the side, just like covering them. And I get why they did that. Like it's showing like how tight knit that family is, and then once they find out what's going on at the farm, they're like they get psychologically broken by that, which is similar to what's happening here with Ray. Anyway, the chapter continues on to show that Emma is kind of getting frustrated with Ray, because at this point he's figured out what is going on, and he's trying to distance himself from everyone. Not in the sense that he wants to do that, but in the sense of the fact that if he doesn't distance himself from everyone, it'll become too attached to them, and it'll be even more heart-wrenching for him when it actually comes time to actually say goodbye to them. So that's why he's keeping a distance, and for him to do that at such a young age, to have that burden on him, that's seriously messed him up psychologically and mentally. And again, if it wasn't for Emma and Norman being there for him and being as stubborn as they are, he probably would have still given up, and he probably would have just like doused himself and burned himself alive if Emma and Norman weren't actually there. He goes into his mind, he's like, calm down, do research, think, what can I do to survive? When are we killed? Starting at the age of 6, in what order? Is there some sort of rule? And he's like trying to figure out like, okay, I now know what's going on, so how is it actually functioning? How are we actually decide on when we actually get in and when we don't? As we see Norman and Emma discussing their scores, and Emma going, "Wow, Norman, you got a perfect score again." And Emma's like, and one of the other kids like, "And you're the same age as us. Amazing." And this is when it clicks to Ray. It's that it's their score, and the order is determined by their score. And every 2 months, whoever has the lowest score is killed. and as they go on to say that Emma's score is just as great as Ray and Norman's, and he quickly figures out that then Emma and Norman should be safe for a while. Me too. But what about them? And this is when we get like a shocking moment. Like Ray's like starting to like, oh my god, they haven't got high scores, so like they're gonna be carried off to be food, and you see like just a creepy image, like pretty on the part of when Norman had his in the first arc where he had his nightmare where he saw Crone and Isabella, and they're just like those demonic nightmare demon fuels. This is pretty similar as you see this right here. Yeah, that's pretty much a Promised Neverland image just there. And obviously Ray wakes up and Isabella's there rushing to his aid, and he's like, at this point he's just given up hope for everyone. It's like he can't save them, but he doesn't want to die no matter what he does. There's no way to save everyone. He's kind of it, and he was always in kind of that mindset of like, there's no way we can save everyone, until Emma figured out what was going on, and she was, like I said, just as stubborn. And it's like, no, we can save everyone. We can save everyone. And again, despite her being stubborn, it was kind of like a breath of fresh air for Ray to actually have someone like that say like, no, this is wrong. We're going to stand up for it. We are going to save everyone, even if he realised just how ridiculous that actually sounded. We carry on with the chapter as Ray goes, but if you don't, you'll be killed. But he can't say that. I can't do everything. I have nightmares every night. So friggin' hell, Ray! No wonder he was such an emo, secretive person at the beginning of the series, when he's having nightmares about that, of just the fact that he knows that every 2 months someone is going to be killed, and even though he wants to say something about that, he knows that he can't actually say anything about that. There's just no way. And then he'll be killed for saying anything. And then if he gets killed, then what? Nobody, people will be wondering like, well, what happened to Ray? And everything, like, just, oh my god, just the psychological torment that's going on in Ray in this chapter is just amazing. In my opinion, as he goes on to say, I get it. Even if we get our scores up, someone will still be killed. I'm scared. Why am I the only one who's realised this? Why am I the only one who remembers? Should I just pretend I don't know? If I look away, I can find myself free from the pain. Even if it's a lie, I want things to stay the same. So it's kind of like in that psychological mind lock of the fact that I want things to stay the same. I don't want to think about this. I just don't want to think about the horrors that are going on. I just want to stay the same. But at the same time, every night it's just going to keep coming back to me that if I'm not saying anything, someone is going to get killed every single 2 months, and it's just paining him. Like the fact that he's a child, he's a small child at this point, and he's realised what's going on, but he can't actually say anything. Ray goes on to continue saying to himself, Mom is so kind, everyone is so happy. Yeah, this is fine if I leave things as they are. But before he can continue on, he sees Emma and Norman looking sad, because he's looking sad, as Isabella's like, don't worry, it's not scary. And the kids go on to say, but you say that, but you're both crying too. As Emma goes, when Ray is sad, we're sad too. As Ray continues to think about everything, and he says, even if it is fake, I want happiness. The truth is scary. So he's kind of, like I said, kind of in that mental stability of like, everything is fine and dandy. Because if he doesn't think about that, then he's going to be thinking about the truth, and the truth in his eyes is far worse than anything. I don't think even Emma or Norman at that point could have comprehended. Even at the beginning of the series, they couldn't comprehend what was going on at first, and they were kind of in denial about it, in the same way that Don and Gilda were in denial about it as well. And I love the fact that we're just getting such a look into Ray's psyche at such a young age, and like what it was like for him to grow up actually knowing the secret of the Gracefield farm, and how he actually coped to it. And Shaw says he couldn't cope with it, because if he did, then it would just make things even worse for him and everyone around him. And I really don't want this to be adapted, this chapter, because You know what they're going to do. They're going to cut out all the internal monologue. I'd rather they skip over this, or they don't even reference this when they're going into season 2 of the anime. So anyway, we cut to January 15th, 2040, which I believe it, from what I remember, hold on a second, guys. Alright, I just had to quickly get the first volume of the manga. Alright, so the flashback that we're in right now, it takes place 5 years before the beginning of the story. So that's what I wanted to look at. So anyway, this this takes place 5 years before the beginning of the story, when Isabella and Ray actually both discover, like, oh my god, they both know the secret of what's going on in the house. And Ray's like, what are you gonna do to me? Kill me? As Isabella looks up, looks on in like sadness, because obviously Ray is Isabella's son, like her actual biological son, and she's like, no, I can't do this to Ray. Ray doesn't deserve this. So it kind of like, she just has that look of sadness of the fact, like, why did Ray have to find out? Now I can't kill him because he is my legitimate son. As Ray's like shocked, like, to mum, I just we're only because Ray is thinking like, oh my god, mama just thinks of me as just like an actual meal and not an actual son. Before he actually goes on to say, I want to make a deal, and we get the narration, which goes 4 minutes and 51 seconds. She got here immediately after I broke the tracking device. So basically, there's a point in the chapter where Ray takes a needle and just like breaks the device in his ear. So like Isabella can't track him at all. So he can actually get away with secretly undermining Isabella whilst also working for her at the same time. The narration goes on to say, that means it's equipped with an alarm. It alerts her if we break it. She has the gadget in her hand. She tracks us using that. It's impossible for me to save everyone, as Ray is forced to actually, over the years, just watch people just go and be killed. As we see one by one, he slowly becomes like the cold, distant person that he is at the beginning of the series. And like I said, it takes Emma and Norma to actually get him back to the young, cheery self that he was what we're seeing in this flashback. As he goes on to say, at least those two, Norman and Emma, I'll save them. I'll carry all this loneliness and pain. I don't need fake happiness. The 6 years were hell, but I'm more than prepared. As we cut to the present, like basically right before the beginning of the series, like literally, I'd say after this point, this is when the series actually starts. As Ray pats Connie and he's like, I'm sorry, Connie. As it says, October 12th, 2045, it's time, let's begin. As we see Ray holding the little bunny rabbit, and that's where the chapter ends. So I love the fact that we get this flashback from Ray's perspective of what was actually going on in the series, and how it kind of led up to the events of the beginning of the series. Like literally, you could place this pretty much on point at the beginning of the series, and it would fit right there. So you could think of this like chapter as like a prequel chapter to the actual series. But anyway, I just wanted to get my thoughts out on this. Pretty good chapter. Like I said, I love the psychological development from Ray, how he goes from like being this young innocent kid in the same way that Emma did, and becomes more cold and distant because he can't do anything or save anyone, and he's forced to watch his friends be taken off to be meat and suffer, as well as him suffering as well. So anyway, guys, what did you think of the little bonus chapter of The Promised Neverland? Let me know. Like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz, and this will be Lash and Luke signing off. Later, guys.